Good morning, everybody. Let's call to order the Finance Committee of the City of Geneva IDA before we go into our annual meeting, which consists of myself. But I'll let Adam take over for me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so couple things to go over. We'll start. We've got the park partnership and the IDA. Start with the IDA. In going through reporting, there's some transactions that have not been reported yet. I'm getting those. I've been in touch with the bank about getting a sign in, a login and password so I can get into the bank accounts, reconcile everything. Shouldn't take me very long to do that. Once I have that access, I expect that to be today. I have spoken with the auditing firm that is used, and I wanted to get the prior fiscal year started in November, so that's coming up. Again, shouldn't be much of a problem. A lot of things are already taken care of. I just want to kind of go through the year, make sure everything's where it should be, and again, reconcile each monthly statement. So I have a profit and loss and a balance sheet. I haven't been able to go through them in their entirety as of yet. But I did look at them and go into some detail on them prior to working with David and Irene on putting together budget documents. And I feel good about where that landed, the budget. So even though I don't have the year-to-date numbers yet, we did look at all the transactions and kind of try to group those. Everything looks good from a budget standpoint on the IDA and park side. We can talk about the GEDC portion of that as well. So overall, the IDA bank balance, we've got, let's see, about 95,000 in the bank, money market 16.9, and then it's like there's a CD of about 100. There are some questions on the GEDC roof loan, which I'm not seeing on this balance sheet. I got to, again, get access to the bank accounts, hopefully today, look into that. I do know a lot of the history of that, fortunately, so shouldn't be a problem to get that on the books. I know it's something we're paying. It's just a matter of getting it to show up here on the balance sheet. Should not be an issue moving forward. As far as the park partnership, same situation, just not as much activity. Need to get the accounts reconciled. I don't see activity from the beginning of this year of 2024 being put into QuickBooks. Again, I get those bank statements and I can do that rather quickly. Shouldn't be an issue. But I do want to make sure everything's brought up to speed and all the accounts are reconciled, everything's accounted for, so that we do have a fresh start for the fiscal year that started just a few weeks ago. And that it makes the audit process of the prior fiscal year run a lot smoother. So that'll be what I'm working on once I get that access. And then I can circulate all of those. No, that's okay. And I can circulate all those updates to the board.
There's been no activity on the partnership in 2020.
So I didn't see any.
Yep.
Perfect.
Okay, so you're gonna close your meeting, we're gonna open our meeting, you'll make a motion.
So yeah, so we need to recommend the budget, right? So we have a budget that everybody's seeing that we'll be recommending to the full board. So yeah,
All right, so
I can close our budget meeting or our finance committee meeting.
go to our annual meeting then.
Great.
Sure.
The same do.
Okay. Thank you. I'd like to open this is a special annual meeting of this City of Geneva IDA for October 18th. We would, first order of business is the budget. We'd like a motion to approve the budget.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, seconded, RJ. Is there any discussion of it? It's been presented a minute ago here. I think if there are any questions that I have Adam here. Beyond welcoming Adam back. That wasn't a question, by the way. That was a stage. Oh.
I'll just say a couple of notes and things from our meeting. We really are hoping to push rents at the GDC. That's our main source of income right now. We don't have a lot in the pipeline, right? For fees and everything. So there is a push there. And then we have a red budget. We're proposing a red budget. It's not great. But it's the reality of where we are. So.
I would also just add that we did discuss, for application and administration fees. Those are typically for pilots. Those can happen at any time. And so it's very typical to not budget for those and then adjust later on.
Okay, any discussion, questions?
I'll also add that we are really pushing on increasing the rental income. After our last conversation, I went back to our property manager and pushed on them some more, and they proposed a set of immediate rent increases for properties that don't have a lease that would slow the increases. I think that's something we can continue to work on, getting long-term businesses closer to a market rate. With that, we had talked about rent income of 250,000 being a stretch. I think with those increases, we're almost there already. We had reviewed a previous proposal from our property manager that showed a much bigger loss, and I think would really close that gap. And I'm hopeful that we can exceed this. I think the ask of the increase over what our current rent roll is completely reasonable and achievable.
And certainly some new tenants could come in mid-year. That's probably
Yes.
more likely than a pilot at this point,
Yep.
but that's all good. That's all good. Is there any possibility of getting more rent from the city?
That was gonna be my question.
So the city leases extend 4 years. One of them many more and one of them a few more. So, of course, the city could voluntarily renegotiate a higher lease. I see a lot of likelihood of that.
How are the rents being set?
They were set many years ago in the agreement between the IDA and the city. When the IDA
30 years ago.
and the city were
But
running.
you said there are 4 years left on the current lease.
On the kitchen lease, I think there's 4 or 5 years left, yeah.
But the DPW lease,
I can get you I don't want to give you the wrong number, but I can get you the numbers, but it's quite a long time and
I mean, that would be, we're not talking substantial, but it is extremely, not even competitive, extremely low.
Yeah.
yes.
It'd be good to, I mean, it obviously, if we're running at a deficit,
Mhm.
anyway, it would be an.
One thing that we are really pushing on is getting the city to better uphold their commitment to maintenance of their lease
Absolutely.
facilities, and so they budgeted some funds for roof work.
All right, that sounds
who
good.
signs the leases and agrees to the terms? That doesn't come before council.
So it's a long-term lease, so it hasn't come before council in many, many years. It's not an annual lease. I think it was a 30-year lease.
Good day.
Yeah.
And there's how many more years? You don't have any more years on the
Not off the
DPW?
top of my head. We'll let you know.
That's kind of been untouchable. And maybe.
Well, and it's not unheard of. Commercial leases are long,
Yeah.
right? That's the point of having some stability.
It's the
The
rate.
rate is such.
Yeah, the rate is a
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah, that's the unreasonable part. Okay. All right, any other questions of Adam in particular? Or we have a motion on the floor to approve the budget for 2024-25. All in favor, say, or you want a roll call? Be a good idea? Or no, just say aye.
Let's say aye.
Okay, that's fine.
I don't have the roll call sheet.
Is this subject,
She can do it if you.
is it subject to getting new data from Anna? Is it? It's
Is what?
subject to getting new information from him, right?
No, this is the proposed budget that we'll adopt. We'll adjust it as things change.
Okay.
Okay, Nicole, why don't you do the roll call, all right?
All righty, start with Chair.
Aye.
RJ,
Aye.
Jen. Aye. Irene.
Yep.
Paul.
Hi.
Carried.
Budget's passed, thank you, all right. Policy review and approval. This is a motion to approve all the ID policies. There are 4 charters and bylaws that kind of put together our committees and the bylaws. There are 15 policies that were in the package. I'm going to run down through it. Well, the charters are the audit committee, the finance committee, the government committee, and then the IDA bylaws. Particularly if you're new to the board, it'd be good to just read through those to have them. These have not changed. They were cleaned up about 2 years ago by Tracy when she was our executive director. That was one of the things that she did when she first came in 2022. And it's pretty much the same. It's just that she compared them to what the state required and brought them up to speed. And I'm going to run down through the policies, just name them. It was the same with these policies. There was a few that were missing. Most were in place but needed to be updated. And MRB also did that for us back in 2022. So the code of ethics, compensation and attendance, defense and indemnification, extension of credit, travel policy, public meeting, video conferencing policy, investment policy, fiscal management policy, procurement policy, real property acquisition policy, disposition of real property, uniform project evaluation, termination and or modification of agency financial assistance, whistleblower, and conflict of interest in an annual disclosure. Now, 2 of them, we may need to beef up a little bit. The disposition of real property, I think our attorneys, David just informed me, our attorneys, Steve looked over them and he thought that maybe there was some a little bit more robust language that we could add to that. So we'll put that on the agenda for next year. And there's nothing that we have to change. It's not like we're in trouble with it or anything. It's just it was his recommendation. And then the conflict of interest and annual disclosure, that's in your packets. That's something that we have to just read through that document so you're familiar with what you're signing, and then sign it and turn it over to David. So as I said in the beginning, this is mostly boilerplate just to keep us in compliance with the state, since we are authorized to give tax payments in lieu of taxes, that we should be, in fact, we are regulated by the state and have to be as such. So I'd like a motion to approve these IDA policies and charters. Just like the policies, I guess, right? The charters don't matter. That's just was for.
So there's a formal resolution in there at the top of the policies, and I can just read the resolve. It's 3. So resolve section 1, the agency hereby ratifies and adopts the charters, policies, guidelines, and procedures previously reviewed by the agency in substantially the forms attached here to as Exhibit A, be effective through the end of fiscal year 24-25, or until such time as successor policies and procedures shall have been approved by the agency. Section 2, the agency hereby appoints David West as the agency contracting officer and Paris certifier, whom shall serve for fiscal year 24-25, or until such time as their respective successors have been nominated and appointed. And 3, these resolutions shall take effect immediately.
Okay, that's the motion.
Somebody has to make it.
All seconds it.
What was the
Moves it.
motion?
He makes the motion.
Yeah,
You can't.
I can't make it.
Sorry, just give you more credit than you do. Okay, and Catherine seconds it. Thank you. All right, is there any discussion or anything that's unclear? Again, it's a lot of paper, and it's something that we should probably just be familiar with. But as I said, there's no, there actually is no substantive changes to that. Any questions?
There's a few surprising things in there, that the $75 thing, and then the clawback of when they don't perform, those people that get the pilots. Just because this was at the forms were at the last of the 60 pages, I kind of read, scanned, and there's a lot there.
Mhm.
There is a lot there.
That's why I did it that way.
Yeah, you made us review it.
Any other comments? Right, call for, we have a motion on the floor, roll call, vote please.
Anne,
Aye, yes.
RJ,
Aye.
Jan. Aye. Irene,
Yes.
Paul,
Hi,
Catherine. Aye. All right, motion carried.
did we get a second on that?
Yeah, Catherine was the second.
All in favor, that's great. Motion passed. Okay, the next item is the officer and committee appointments. We have our list of, let me turn my pages here. 54.
We did.
Okay, the
Yeah.
we have 5 committees right now and they're understaffed. There's some vacancies, so we need to talk about that. We also talked about, I think it was, well, actually, it might have been last meeting in September, about forming a GEDC committee, which is to put us, we used to have one. I don't know if it was an official committee, but it was one that they met once a month to actually meet with Webster's and go over what was going on, or maybe it was quarterly, something like that, but also with this, the CNS report that we're soon to receive the final document on, you know, that I think it'd be great for a committee to, in fact, review that and make recommendations and set priorities and kind of see how we're going to, and then initiate, you know, the necessary grants that might be needed to do the work. So, and I think we talked about it, but we should probably vote on it, that it was, I believe RJ, myself, and Lowell was on that committee when we talked about it a month ago, maybe it was 2 months ago. But, so I would like to actually add that as a 6th committee. We have the governance committee, audit committee, finance committee, nominate committee, marketing committee, and now will be the GEDC committee. That's, everyone's in agreement to that.
And I will note there's one error on here, which is the finance committee has 2 openings because Ben is no longer.
Right. Yeah, Ben is, yeah.
So we need, if everyone wants to stay on their committees, nobody gets to leave a committee. Make that a rule. Then we need, it's 1 person on governance, 1 person on audit, 2 people on finance, and 1 person on marketing. Particularly to our new members, where you'd like to be.
Yeah, I'd like to be on the marketing committee. That would fit in my past, so that would be a pleasure.
That's what I was gonna say too.
I'm glad I spoke up first.
I guess, I don't know, where do you all think that I'd be most helpful? Finance?
Yes, please.
You guys can pick 2.
Don't be shy.
And that would take care of all.
So, what other? Audit?
That's what.
I can do audit too.
She's gonna do audit also.
I'm not very.
Pretty good at
Finance is
that.
the
Governance.
governance.
You can-
Okay, I'll do governance.
There you go.
Governance. I'm just listening to you. Sure, what do you think I can
You
do?
need 1 more person for finance. We have Catherine and Irene. I'm looking at all of you and you're looking at your paper.
Down.
We still have to get a new person here. We gotta leave something for them. I mean,
Okay.
Great.
That's a good answer.
Um, Okay, as far as the GDC, I recommend that Lowell be the chair of that. Comfortable with that, Lowell?
Sure.
Okay.
The only thing was the conflict with CNS. So that conflict is at fast.
I'm having trouble hearing you, Lowell, with your
Oh.
mask on.
Okay. I'm not positive, so.
Okay.
As long as you're okay with sore throat. Yeah, there's a conflict because I am part-time employed by CNS and that's my own firm. So if as long as there's no conflict, since they're already on board, you've already selected them.
I think the conflict of interest would be if you were making money off of this or doing something. I don't see it as a conflict. In fact, I see it as a benefit because you would understand the language better than most of us.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Everyone comfortable with that? I mean,
Just thought I'd mention it.
Yeah, I don't think you wouldn't be doing anything that would increase.
right. You're not,
For them at this point.
we're evaluating and
Yeah, unless we just said, write the grants for us. And
Sure. That would need to come to the whole committee. You recuse yourself.
Okay,
correct. I think we could make the recommendations and stuff like that, but.
okay.
Yeah, if I can, you're fine because at the committee level, technically, you're not making any formal actions or anything. It's just basically offering up opinions that would ultimately make its way up to the full board. So you're fine.
Thanks, Steve. You surprised me there, by the way.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so I think we're set for now.
So we need a motion to appoint,
That's correct.
I'm gonna read them all off. Stephen Regan to the Governance Committee, Catherine Price to the Audit Committee, Catherine Price to the Finance Committee, reserving a slot that's vacant there, and Jan Regan to the Marketing Committee, as well as Lowell Dewey, RJ Castellanova, and then out to the GDC Committee.
Okay, so like a motion to pick that up, to do that. Okay, thank you, Jan.
Second.
Irene, okay. All in favor, or is there any further discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye. I guess we don't need a roll call for that. That's internal. All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Passed. Okay, and then board member forms, David. Throw that back at you.
Yeah, there are 3 forms that we need to fill out annually. I brought copies if you didn't make your own copy. One of them is our annual disclosure of conflict of interest. So this is where if you have any financial stake in a company that we might work with, or that would benefit from decisions you could make on the GDC, this is where you can declare those. We would have them reviewed by our attorney, so that we could make a determination that you need to recuse yourself from something, and also just to have it recorded that there is that interest. There's also the acknowledgement of fiduciary duties and responsibilities, what it means to be on this board, what responsibilities you take on. And finally, an annual survey that's confidential, that I will take those and we will collate them and see what everyone thinks. We did this right at the beginning of my time. There were not surprises. It was a good chance to see where we're at, what we need to work on, how we can improve our work as a board.
So with that last survey, I feel like I've been on the board for such a short amount of time. When I was reviewing the questions, I wasn't terribly comfortable answering all of them. Shall I just do what I can and turn that into you? Yeah.
I think you
You
could,
guys have a recommendation?
You can answer that. It's okay if the answer is, I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Was not an option. I just left it blank where I was not.
just
feel comfortable.
and
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
Okay.
I wrote it
come
up
up with a phrase. Non-competitive.
Which totally took away the
but
confidence.
yeah. So, and part of that, it's a good reminder that new members, there is a requirement to do some training in the first year. And I'll reach out about some of those that are online.
Great.
Yeah,
Okay,
You want this?
so that was just.
yes, I want them.
Okay.
Okay.
pass over.
I moved on too quickly, which is. We need to go over the officers for the board. So skip that completely. And so we can do a separate vote on that. So on that form, it's myself as chair, Irene as secretary treasurer, and Lowell as vice chair. That's our executive committee. Any changes to that? No surprise takeovers or anything, no?
Unless one of our new members is
Who's-
really eager.
All right, let's have a motion to approve the executive committee as is. Right? Okay, thank you, Catherine. All right, Jan, you good with that?
I-
Second, all right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thanks, okay.
Make sure you remove your yard signs now.
Yeah, I don't. Okay. Is there any other, I mean, this is not a meeting that we supposed to discuss new business anyway, so I'd like a motion to adjourn. Okay,
Excellent.
that was good. All in favor,
I did not
okay,
catch that.
motion. Irene does,
Oh, yeah, I did.
and RJ seconds, so thank you. All right, we're all, meeting is adjourned. And normally we do this at our regular meeting. It just extends after our regular meeting. It just that we didn't get the packages together soon enough. So thank you all for coming in an extra day this month. Hopefully we can do that when we have some important things to discuss.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Another success.
Take care.
What's that?
Another successful.
Oh, yeah, boy. I just nailed it.
That's a tough one, you know? Those, take your yard signs